Part 16, Abby Emily, and Levi Knight Fuller, residence. Brattleboro, Vermont, USA, 1866 to 1873. Historic, Estey, buildings. In 1869, J. Estey and Company began to build a new factory on Burge Street in Brattleboro, Vermont. Starting with just 4 buildings, the factory complex grew to 8 main buildings by 1873. The factory's president was Jacob Estey, who was also the founder of J. Estey and Company. President Jacob Estey and his wife, Desdemona, lived near the factory on Canal Street. Jacob and Desdemona Estey, residence, since 1837. Jacob and Desdemona had 3 children. Julia D. Estey, born in 1840, died in 1842. Julius Jacob, born in 1845. Julius Jacob Estey was also secretary and treasurer at J. Estey and Company since 1866. And Abby Emily, born in 1842. Abby Emily married Levi Knight Fuller in 1865. Levi Knight Fuller was not only Abby Emily's husband, he was also vice president of J. Estey and Company since 1866. As early as 1860, Fuller worked for Jacob Estey as a machinist and engineer in one of Estey's former free reed organ factories on Main Street Bridge in Brattleboro. In a fire in this factory in 1864, Fuller lost all of his machinery. Levi Knight Fuller filed more than 100 patents during his lifetime, some of which he developed for Estey free reed organs. On May 8, 1865, he married Abby Emily Estey. And in 1866, he was appointed as vice president of the company by Abby's father, Jacob Estey. According to a census, Levi Knight Fuller and Abby Emily Estey were living 1870 in Jacob and Desdemona Estey's residence on Canal Street. But in 1873, they built their own house further up Canal Street. A magnificent, ornate, Victorian mansion with elements of the early Italianate style was built. Illustrated on the 1876 Brattleboro map. And also illustrated on the 1886 Brattleboro map. On the 1895 map, the property is listed as Pine Heights, Government, Levi K. Fuller. My Fuller residence 3D model is based on internet photos, floor plans from old maps, and illustrations on postcards. Levi Knight Fuller and Abby Emily Estey, residence, built 1873. I couldn't find any clear sources for the right and rear views, so these parts of my 3D model are based only on my guesswork. Levi Knight Fuller and Abby Emily Estey residence. There was also an additional building on the property. Levi Knight Fuller built his own library, and he also was an amateur astronomer and built an observatory for his equatorial telescope. The library, or the observatory, probably had been housed in this separated building. An advertising card from the Estey Organ Company, from about 1890s, probably illustrate a room from this residence. The 8 main buildings of the new factory can also be seen in the background. You can find out what evidence there is that this image may illustrate a room in the Fuller residence in one of the next parts of the Jacob Estey series. Levi Knight Fuller traveled overseas several times on behalf of the Estey Organ Company to form partnerships for international expansion. It would take a separate video to list all of Levi Knight Fuller's achievements and his political career. A brief summary of Levi Knight Fuller's work. Levi Knight Fuller died on October 10, 1896, and was buried in Prospect Hill Cemetery, Brattleboro. In 1900, his remains were moved to Morningside Cemetery, Brattleboro. Levi Knight Fuller leaves behind his wife, Abby Emily, and their adopted daughter, Anna Maud Essex, at Pine Height residence. Abby Emily often traveled with her husband on business trips to Europe. Abby Emily Fuller, Estey, published the book, Addresses Mrs. Levi K. Fuller. Abigail Emily Estey died at the age of 86 on March 31, 1929. In her honor, the Estey Organ Company factory, was closed that afternoon. Some employees attended her memorial service at her home in Pine Heights. Buried with her husband at Morningside Cemetery in Brattleboro, Vermont, USA. Abby's will included Brattleboro Home for the Elderly and Disabled, Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina, including Abby's religious books, Norwich University, including all of her academic books, Vermont Academy in Saxton's River, Vermont Baptist State Convention. In an edition of the book addresses Mrs. Levi K. Fuller, photos of 3 of the most important stages of Abby's life are shown. The house where she was born in 1842. Her parents' house, the Deacon, Estey, homestead. According to this description, Abby Emily did not move into her new home at Pine Heights residence until 1879. The Pine Heights residence is the 3rd photo, which is shown. I have not found a clear source for the year of construction of the Pine Heights. But, since the Fuller residence is already visible on the map from 1876, or earlier, such as 1873, is probably the correct year of construction. After Abby Emily's death, in 1829, Anna Maud Essex Hooker was given the Pine Heights residence, with its contents, and a trust fund for the maintenance of the house. Anna Maud Essex Hooker came to the Fullers as a young girl. She was the daughter of the London representative of the Estey Organ Company, and was adopted by Abby and Levi Fuller. Anna stayed with Abby Emily Fuller until 1902, when she married James Fisk Hooker. Anna died in 1874 in San Diego, California, and was buried in Brattleboro's Prospect Hill Cemetery. I have not been able to find out if Anna Maud Essex ever lived at the Pine Heights residence. The next path that provides information about what happened next to the Pine Heights residence can be found from the 1940s. I read in this text that someone spent their childhood in the 1940s on the Pine Heights property with her sisters, Gloria and Joyce, and with N. Batton. After some research, I was able to find out that Anne Essex Batton was born in San Diego, California, and probably was the granddaughter of Anna Maud Essex Hooker. Even if Anna Maud Essex Hooker's new home was now San Diego, her descendants, like granddaughter and Batton, probably spent some time in Brattleboro at the Pine Heights residence. And Anna Maud Essex Hooker's descendants were still buried in Brattleboro, Prospect Hill Cemetery. In this text, it is also said that the estate was probably converted into apartments in the 1950s. And demolished in the 1960s. And then, the property was converted into Eden Park Nursing Home Center for Nursing and Rehabilitation. Jacob and Desdemona Estey, residence. Abby Emily and Levi Knight Fuller, residence. Coming next. Julius, Jacob, Estey, and Florence, Carpenter, Gray, residence. The Florence Terrace. Brattleboro Vermont, USA, 1866 to 1873. Historic, Estey, buildings.